Good morning, everybody. Sergey. Good morning. Sergey is here.
Good morning, Sergey. So we were waiting for you to join.
Well, sorry, it was a last-minute issue, as usually. Good morning, Dinesh.
Chanakya, is it possible so that we can share our screen?
Hi, there is a button in the bottom. If you can see, there's a share screen option on your bottom right. There's a green color button.
Sergey, are you able to see that option? But I am not finding that option.
Yeah, can you see it now?
I can see it, by the way.
Okay, no problem. So if Sergey is able to see, yeah, I can manage. So mine is going to be audio only.
That's okay.
Okay, Sergey, you can start your screen sharing, and we
Check
have
it.
26 attendees, so we'll just wait for maybe a few more minutes and begin.
Okay, I will share to all panelists. Okay, my screen. Okay, let me please know if you can see my slides.
Yes, I'm able to see. Chanakya, let's start. So I'll just take over the initial part of this particular session. So that may take a couple of minutes. Then probably by the time Sergey starts presenting, I hope rest of the other attendees will be able to join. So good morning and good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to Creo8 digital launch session. We are going through the unprecedented times, and I'm sure all of you are taking good care of yourself and your near and dear ones. Please continue to stay safe, and we all together will pass through this very soon. My name is Dinesh, Technical Account Manager, handling Middle East and Africa in Reddington. Along with me, Sergey, Technical Specialist from PTC, Luca, Business Development Manager from 3D Connection. So I'll take you through the initial part of this launch session. So Creo8 is special. Why it is so special? So we will have a brief presentation on its features, capabilities, what's new, what is included, what is enhanced from the previous version. So the session will be handled by Sergey. So just a brief introduction to Creo8. Competition is increasing. Everyone wants more and more at less and less time. Creo8 is exactly designed in that direction to enable you to do more and more on very less and less time. So Creo has come a long way since its earlier pro engineer days, had undergone a transformation, revolutionized the way product design is done. If you look at the journey, PTC, they had introduced a lot of disruptive technologies right from Creo 4. So Creo 4, it came with uh, so if you consider the latest technologies like additive manufacturing or artificial intelligence or augmented reality or IoT, okay, PTC is having 4 out of 10 latest technologies with them, and all the 4 capabilities like of latest technologies are infused in their CAD modeling application, that is PTC Creo. So PTC Creo, that is Creo 4. So PTC introduced IoT based modeling where the designers will be able to design sensors which can collect data from the field, and the data can be reused by the product designers for further optimization of the model by creating a digital twin. So along with IoT enabled features, Creo4 also got some additive manufacturing capabilities for plastics. Then Creo5, Creo5 came along with flow analysis powered by Synovix, and the additive manufacturing capability which they introduced in the earlier version of Creo4 is enhanced and it is extended to metal printing. Creo6 had a very fantastic capability, that is augmented reality powered design sharing. So that was very much helpful for the design teams to collaborate with their teams internally and externally, like outside, inside and outside their organization. Creo 6 got the live simulation capabilities, which is again powered by answers, where the analysis, the FEA part happens in the background with the help of GPU, that is your graphics memory, which is taking out the stress on your RAM. And the designers had the right set of tools placed in their design environment itself. So it helped design engineers to do analysis very effectively using the technology powered by answers, and it cut down a very it cut down a lot of time. Creo 7, again, a lot of features which they introduced in the past versions are enhanced, and again, the simulation capabilities are enhanced, which is powered by answers has been enhanced. And now we have Creo 8. Creo 8 is the latest, and it got a lot of tools, technologies included in it. So when you a recent study says that 67% of a designer's time is spent on core capabilities in modeling, drawing, and documenting a design product. So Creo 8 is having a lot of enhancements in the core capabilities. So I hand over this session to Sergey, who can take us through the latest features in Creo 8.
Thank you much, Dinesh. I will speak and sometimes ask your help in order to understand if everybody from our guests audience can see and hear me. Is it okay?
Okay, yeah, fine.
Okay. Good morning for everybody. I am glad that you found some time for this session, because actually I had a chance to announce and to show some new stuff in Creo for you. Actually, everything that Dinesh announced, like new stuff in the design functionalities, new stuff in simulation, new stuff in additive manufacturing, subtractive manufacturing, I will show for you, and I will illustrate it in several videos. In several videos pieces, and actually there are many stuff that Creo can do for you. Actually, Creo can do any kind of designer's job. For example, it can manage large assemblies. It can work with some kind of special sub-assemblies, like steel metal structures, like mold designs. It can provide some kind of spatial analysis, like molding analysis, and so on. But today, in the next, let's say, 45 minutes, I want to be focused on the several topics. Like, first, I will describe for you what is MBD, or model-based definition, and what kind of advantages you may have when you work in it, and when you work with Creo. Second topic is how you can take advantages from the new simulation engine in Creo, both for the CFD or computational fluid dynamics and for the structural simulation. For that part of my presentation, I will use Cimerix for CFD and ANSYS for the structural simulation. The reason why you may be interested in this is the fact that both are embedded in the Creo kernel. So you don't have to switch between various applications. You just keep your work in Creo. You do a minimum of simplification in your existing sub-assemblies, and you have your results as fast as possible. My third topic here is how you can work with the generative design in Creo, or a special technique that helps you to be sure that you have the most optimal geometry from the additive manufacturing technology point of view, how you can implement it, how you can combine various, I would say, regular design features and this kind of generated geometry. And finally, I will just show you some stuff which is about the best practice, how to connect your Creo installation with your 3D printer, because 3D printing has some interesting, I would say, peculiarities when you work with this. So it has some new stuff for you, and you will be interested to see how it is different. I mean, this additive manufacturing stuff from your existing experience that you have with some kind of subtractive technology. Either you are working with the regular machine floor cutting technologies, or maybe you work with some stuff for the die and mold machining. And by the way, I will describe for you briefly some new and interesting functions in Creo, which are about die and mold machining or high-speed machining, which can reduce this machining time significantly. And all of this is in Creo. So let me please start from the MBD. I will be very glad if you provide your questions when you have them during my demo. Please let me just finish all my stories here. And then at the end, I will be glad to answer them. So please use your chat and Q&A buttons in Zoom. And again, please be open and don't hesitate to ask any questions here. Okay, what is MBD, or model-based definition? Model-based definition, that is the practice which originally was for having your measurement of the ready-to-go detail, which has been manufactured in the most short time period. It means that that is the technique that allows you to move away from your 2D drawings and just use your 3D model as, I would say, the measuring example for everything that you manufacture. Besides this stuff, MBD can help you in working with large assemblies, because when you provide your shop floor with some kind of instructions, it's better to use the same model that you have in Creo. I mean that in my next example, I will show for you exactly how to work with assemblies with Creo, what is the power of Creo when you select some kind of internal assemblies and sub-assemblies from your main design. And I will show for you how to provide, let's say, the job cut for the assembly instruction right from your 3D assembly in Creo. And that is really interesting how you can work with this, because as much you work with the 3D, as much you have in your 3D design, let's say as much you have instructions in that which are targeted from the for the manufacturing shop floor, as many you have data inside your model, like parameters, who is manufacturer, who is the right supplier for any part, as less time you spend for the preparation for the manufacturing phase. So that is the main idea here. So I will start my video, and I will start it. Let me please find the right time here. That is like this. Okay, so please imagine that I do have a big subassembly, and from this big subassembly of the bus, I need to select a couple of subassemblies for having a manufacturing assembly instructions. And for my first subassembly, I need to have, let's say, an instruction or illustration for my manufacturing shop floor for people who need to assemble the roofing panels or the roof of my bus. And for the next team, I need to provide manufacturing instructions together with all kind of models for having the interior in the assembly process. Please note what I do here. In Creo, I just use the queries because Creo, in fact, that is a really powerful tool which allows you not only to work with the data like parts and assemblies, you can work with your data as like you work with the database, because you can use searches, you can use queries. And for example, when I used the query for selection some of my internal stuff, I just used the query which contained the roof name. I just selected it here in my view manager. And next step for me is just to create a separate combination view or separate tab, which I will use later in my presentation, just to show you how nice it is if you structure your assembly for various kind of views which are devoted for various kinds of machining instructions. So in Creo, you can not only model stuff, you can use Creo as your, let's say, manufacturing illustration tool, because Creo has everything inside this for doing so, and you can provide your shop to your final version. And here I will provide here some kind of analog for the table in my drawing, and just at the end of this table, I will provide the text for my instruction. So in this text, actually, I included the job cards for exactly this kind of subassembly for the interior subassembly of my bus, because actually that is to illustrate for you that you can include not only, let's say, designers information, you can include manufacturing information and have it as an instruction for your shop floor workers. And again, the main advantage here is that you use your final design and you don't use some kind of external tool for having the illustration of your assembly process. So in case if you need something, let's say from the scratch to have your assembly instruction, you can use Creo for that, and Creo can do it, let's say, very well. So after that, when I did this text, so when I inserted this text in my annotation here, I just save this as a separate tab. You can see these small tabs at the bottom of my screen, like flow install, CView, like only hardware for specification, roof assembly, and so on. And here, please note that you will use the same assembly. So you will use the main assembly of your product, but you will have a different views, which allows you to separate various pieces of visual information for various kind of shop floor workers. And if you save it in the view format, because Creo allows you just to save the view, not the really not the real design stuff. You will have it as a ready to go instruction. Either you share it with your workers to have it on the PC screen, or for example, you can have these instructions in the augmented reality in case if you are interested in this technology. The latter case, I mean, the augmented reality is, of course, much more interesting in terms of being mobile, or in terms of being online, when you provide your shop floor with the quality of the design models. So here you can use model-based annotation for this instruction, or for various kind of tabs with illustrations. Of course, you can use model-based definition just to providing the real dimensions that must be measured, and you can have them at the same manner, like separated for the various views, and that will reduce significantly time which is spent for finding the right information for comparing the ready-to-go detail or subassembly with the design intent that was behind it. Okay, for the next topic, for the simulation. What is interesting in Creo is that now it includes, as Dinesh noted, ANSYS inside it. What is ANSYS? ANSYS, I will not explain what is it. Everybody knows this, but for you as designers, it means that you can use your existing subassemblies from Creo, and you can use ANSYS engine to calculate them on your GPUs or graphical processors from your card. It supports NVIDIA cards, NVIDIA professional cards, and when you do it, for example, at the video on my screen, you can calculate, for example, thermal management issues in just seconds. Or, for example, you can go with the CFD design. You can check your CFD performance on your real assembly very quickly. So it means you really spend seconds for your simulation, and it's better your product is simulated as less you have designer's variant. So here in Creo, both analyzes and structural simulation for dynamic simulations and CFD simulations are supported. So Again, you can go directly from your design. You can annotate it. You can have it ready to go for manufacturing, and you can have the simulation by using the same software, by using Creo8, which is really nice up to me. Okay, next topic. For multi-physics CFD simulations, we have another solution which is involved in Creo. Again, it based on your task, what you are going to have. But in this multi-physics CFD simulation, you can simulate any kind of internal flow problem. For example, in the upper right corner, you can see the simulation of the AC DC converter of the computer, which is performed with all kind of physics which is embedded here. So here I did it for the mutual dissipation of the heat between various electronic and passive elements. I did it exactly for the heat which is dissipated by the floor. So you can include any kind of, let's say, any number of fans. You can include the external temperature and so on. And here in Creo, you spend minimum of your time for having the mesh and for having the final result. Because for these kind of simulations, for the CFD simulations, actually, there are two main issues that designers may have. First, you must have a good mesh. And second, you must have a good simulation result. And usually, if you don't use a special technology, you spend many hours for having the mesh and for having your results. Here in Creo, I just want to show you some final stuff, some final step when I've prepared this model. You can go to your simulations results as fast as you can, believe me, if you compare it with the other type of multi-physics CFD simulations. So what is in your screen? Actually, that is the cabinet for electrical components. And the main function of this cabinet is to dissipate the heat. And for heat dissipations, it has many radiators, which you can see. And there are many fans. And for this time, the task for the designer was to have the most optimal configuration in order to dissipate as much heat as possible. So actually, in the real life, it will take you maybe for 1 hour or 2 hours just to have your final results. If you compare it with ANSYS in Creo, where you may have your results for CFD, let's say in just several seconds, that is the time. But sometimes you may face issues that, the design issues which require real multi-physics simulation inside it, and you will face it in case if you work with some kind of complex sub-assemblies, like I showed you in my previous slides. Again, what is interesting here is that when you work for having your mesh, you work with their internal geometry core of Creo, which is Granite 1. Granite 1 is a famous core when it works with the geometry. It means that Granite for you will extract from your real subassembly, like I'm doing right now, all kind of internal fluid areas. So you will not do it manually. Creo will do it for you. It will extract, like it does right now, all kind of internal fluid areas. So, and it will do it with the maximal geometry accuracy. You just point up their inlet and outlet surfaces, and then it starts working. And after that, it contains, I mean, Creo with symmetrics inside. It contains the functionality just to have the real mesh. And it will do it automatically also. That is the binary tree mesher, as it's called in this world of CFD simulation. And it is interesting because actually it is automatic. You just need to provide, let's say, your boundary conditions like inlets and outlets. So you do it, and then you go to this mesher that prepares all the job, which is doing all kind of this meshing preparation for you. Okay, let me go to generative design and 3D printing. First, please note what you see on this screen. On this screen, you see the result, which not experienced customers who do not attend Reddington's webinars may have at the end. So you may have really damaged structure when you print your design without taking into account the real physical process which is inside your 3D printer. Why it is interesting? Because actually it requires for you to select the most optimal parameters from your 3D printing, like the power of the laser, like the inclination of your 3D part of the plate of the printer, over the palette of the printer. And actually, if you don't have the ability to control this process, you may have these results. And it was, by the way, one of our customers here in Russia who faced it. And the remedy not for having these burnt structures, because they're really burnt, like you fried a potato or something like this, is to have the right procedure in Creo, which allows you not only to model, which I will show for you how to do it, but also to check your design in terms of its printability. Okay, let me show you how to model the stuff inside Creo. So let me find first the time when I start. By the way, Dinesh, is everybody can see and hear me? Dinesh?
Yes, you are. We can see the screen, and you're audible as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Dinesh. Thanks for the help. Okay, so what is the generative design technology in Creo? Actually, it is Frustum. Frustum is a famous technology because it allows you to combine the regular features, like you can see in my part. For example, some kind of extrudes, some kind of cuts, and so on, with the technology, with the geometry, sorry, which will be generated by Creo. And really, it will be generated by their computer. And for doing so, your task as a designer just to provide as many loads on your part or on your subassembly as you can imagine. As more loads you have, let's say in X, Y, and Z direction, the more, I would say, stiffer, the more reliable will be your part in terms of the generated geometry. Please note that this technology does not have any kind of final element calculations. inside it. Actually, it does the engine, the calculation engine, but it uses exactly geometry for having the final result. What is nice also here is that, for example, you can choose either you will use your GPUs on your graphical card, on your graphics card, or you will use your central processors unit. Because actually graphic cards processors are much more faster when you compare them with the regular computer's core. So, and by the way, please note on the load of the processor, which I used so far, it's on the upper right screen. It loads them close to 100%. It means that you use performance of your hardware as much as possible. Please note how this generated geometry is connected with the regular features. It has a smooth connection, a really nice smooth connection, which shows you that this engine in Creo works quite well when you combine generated geometry and regular geometry you may have when you use your usual designer's practice, like you work with extrudes and so on and so on. Okay, in the my next video, in my next video, I will show for you how to be sure that everything which is modeled can be printed with your 3D printer. For doing so, I will place this part. I will just start my video in a couple of minutes. I just want to explain what I will do right now. I will place this part on the 3D printer palette or 3D printer plate. I will generate supporting structures because mainly when you work with the professional printers, you work with the metals. Dinesh mentioned that, yes, in Creo 4, we worked with plastics, but right now we are working with metal parts because metal is metal. That is the most reliable material that designers can use. And for doing so, for having it being printed and to avoid that kind of burns or burnt structures that I showed you, you must have good supporting structures to dissipate the heat which arises when your printer starts to work, and which, I mean, supporting structures which can have any kind of loads for the additional operations, like to cut it off when you work with the cutting machines on the next stuff. So here in Creo, you can have access to the driver parameters of your current 3D printers. Creo is doing this with the help of Materialize library, which is connected inside Creo. So when you start your working with Creo, you just select your existing parameters from your printer, and Creo, through Materialize connection, through Materialize link, have the access to your printer data. It allows Creo to generate most optimal supporting structures, like you see them on the screen. They're yellow. And it allows you to choose the type of this supporting structure based on the best way how you can position your 3D part in your printer. Because as optimal you have this stuff, I mean, as optimal you have this position, the most optimal you have your process. And in Creo, now I am checking if there are if there would be some kind of violations in terms of the thickness of the supporting structures. Here, Creo does these checks for you. And of course, here I go to my final checks in terms of being sure that everything is okay in terms of my printer parameters. Or in case if it will not be okay, I will have a chance to change them. And please note that here you have an access to these 3D printing parameters exactly from Creo. So you don't have any kind of, I would say, mid software tool for doing so. Yes, Creo does use materialized technology for doing so, but you are still working in Creo. So you have a chance, for example, to change your design, to be back again to this supporting structure generation procedure, and everything will be updated automatically. For example, here I just changed the laser speed parameter, and I go directly to the simulation of my 3D printing process. So in Creo, generally, many stuff can be simulated. Either it is the structural issue for finite element design, is it CFD problem, or maybe is it a multi-physics CFD problem. You can simulate and have your generative designs. And of course, you may have simulations for these 3D printing stuff. So the general rule of thumb of the modern software, you must have as much simulation as possible available in case if you work with the new projects, or in case if you are not familiar with this technology, like additive technology. By the way, now I'm showing for you how all kind of these internal structures can be changed. So you just go back to Creo, you change the type of your internal structures. Now they are called lattices or regular structures. In my previous example, I asked Creo to have the generated design. Now I'm using one of the Creo functions to have it as a regular internal structure designs. And for example, why it may be interesting for you, because, for example, for these geroid structures, like I have here, I mean, these nice smooth shapes at the top of the product, you have the most optimal geometry for having heat dissipation. In case if you are working on the heat exchanger, this geroid geometry is the most optimal based on the scientific mathematical point of view. And by the way, it's really well proven by many customers. Okay, let me please finish my demoing for this 3D printing process. And let me just tell you about additional software that you have in Creo. One of the most interesting stuff here is this Amphion extension, or Amphion app, to be more correct. It allows you to do this simulation of building process with all kind of heat loads that your printer is having when it does this 3D printing process. Because actually, that kind of issues that I showed for you may arise if you don't have the full understanding what kind of heat dissipation you may have inside your structures, outside your structures, and what kind of heat dissipation you have in case if you build that supporting structures, because this app shows you the real heat management, real heat dissipation process. It takes into account all kind of physics which is built inside 3D printer, and it helps you to be sure in your design much more if you are, let's say, a newbie, or if you are a new person in this field and want to be sure that you are on the right way. So it helps you in this stuff, in this case. And just a couple of slides for the new stuff in Creo for subtractive manufacturing, or the regular in C machines. What is nice is that in Creo, PTC now involved high-speed machining technique from the software which is called Module Works. Why Module Works is nice? Because actually it takes exactly your geometry as input for having the most optimal toolpath and for calculating this toolpath afterwards. It means that not you as a designer or as a machinist will try to strike your head with the question, what is the most optimal toolpath for having it been machined, especially if it has to be produced on the high-speed machines. And many of the modern CNC machines are having this high-speed option, by the way. But Module Works or Creo, because now Module Works is involved in Creo also, will do it for you. It will take exactly your geometry as input. It will calculate the most optimal tool path based on the high-speed machining parameters, like cutting speed, like feed rate, and so on. It will build this most optimal tool path, and then it will calculate and, by the way, simulate material removal from your work piece. And actually here we do have two options. First is the option for 3-axis high-speed machining, and option for 5-axis high-speed machining extension. By the way, if you are a user of Creo and if you are a user of mold machining extension for die and mold machining, when you have Creo 8, it will be automatically replaced for you by high-speed machining plus. Plus means that you will have 5-axis also. Mainly that's it. When we reach the end of our webinar, I will provide also slides for you, and I recommend you to click on several of these references, because they are interesting. They're interesting from the information point of view. First, it will be possible to see all kind of enhancements. By the way, we have numerous of enhancements in Creo 8. We were just focused on several of them, which are most powerful up to my understanding. And actually you will have my recommendations for these GPUs or for graphic cards, which are most optimal in terms of performance for this kind of simulation that I showed for you. Many thanks for your attention. Let me please go. Let me please pause of my screen sharing and go to your question. Please don't hesitate to ask your questions in chat, in the chat window and in the Q&A window. Dinesh? Dinesh, can you hear him? Can you hear me? Maybe we can continue.
Yes, I'm able to hear you. So there are a couple of questions.
Okay.
So the first question is like, do PTC has any library of fasteners and other parts mostly used in industries? Yes, almost like we have a fastener library?
Yeah, actually, that is called IFX, or Intelligent Fastener Extension. It is included in many Creo packages, and yes, we do have it. And by the way, when you use this library, you have the real fastener. So it's not the images only. These are real parts with the parameters, with the name of the manufacturer, and so on and so on.
So adding to Sergey, not only IFX, so we also have the traditional library parts which we can download from the download center, and there is collaboration between Cadence, like we can download from the parts library which is available in the inbuilt browser of Creo. So
wow.
there are multiple options available when it comes to library for fasteners and other parts like bearings, pulleys, couplings. Yes, so we have a vast library of parts available. Another interesting question. This is to you, Sergey. What is the best specifications to run Creo? So
I mean, I suppose that Mr. Hassam is speaking about hardware specification, right?
yes,
The best specification for the hardware is 3 gigahertz of multi-core processor. Is to have, let's say, 32 gigabytes of RAM, and to have SSD as your hard drive. So solid state hard drive is the best choice for having a large amount of data in Creo. And the usage of these graphic cards, which I mentioned. I mean, RTX 4000, which is from NVIDIA. That is the most powerful hardware that can solve a lot of designers and simulations problems. I've tested it by myself, and I have a good customers feedback on this RTX 4000 from NVIDIA. Let me please know if it is okay in terms of my answer.
so there is one more question. So what kind of functions does Creo8 give for solar energy segment? This is seems to be a very interesting question. Renewable energy and Creo.
I would say that the best function here is this thermal simulation in Creo, because of course it depends what kind of products do you produce for the solar energy. But in terms of heat dissipation, I would recommend first to try ANSYS solver. For structural integrity, I mean, for the stresses and strains inside many kind of solar panels configuration, it's better to use this solution also. I mean, Creo Simulation Live, which is exactly ANSYS in Creo. And in terms of the designs, in terms of the geometry, I would try to use tier 2 package. I mean, the standard Creo package plus the top-down design edition in terms of dividing your designer's job, in case if you do have a quite big designer's team.
Sergey, we are getting in a couple of more questions.
Sure.
So we will again create a space for others to think and type in their questions. In the meantime, I would like to play a small video. So we have a sponsor today, 3D Connection, who innovates ergonometric CAD mouses. Chanakya, probably you can take the lead and you can flash the video or the brochure if you have.
Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen.
So in the meantime, so if you have any queries, you can drop in your queries. So most of your queries will be addressed.
Mhm.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, we can.
Can you all see the video?
yes.
Okay, awesome. I'll just play the video. Are you all able to hear the sound?
No. So 3D Connection, they manufacture 3D CAD mouses. So which is an ergonometric mouse which reduces strain on your wrist, hands, and it basically helps you to utilize both your hands. When you use a conventional mouse, you are using only your right or left hand, but with this 3D mouse, you can make use of both the hands, and it comes with configurable buttons. You can configure your map keys or frequently used say features, whether it can be a feature to navigate or whether it can be a feature to create or edit your 3D geometry. So you can make use of uh, the configurable buttons, and again it reduces a lot of time, and basically it reduces the stress from your rest.
Thank you
So
so
is this
much.
works with yeah, Luca, probably you can take over, Luca, so you are the best person to explain about this mouse more than.
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity, Dinesh. Very nice presentation. I just can say we are PTC technical partner since when Creo was Pro-E. So it's very, very long collaboration. Our devices, the Space Mouse and CAD Mouse, really helped to have a better understanding of 3D environment, and they help a lot in during the CAD sessions. So if we we are able to play the presentation, we will have more example and explanation about this technology. Probably most of you have heard about Space Mouse, Mouse 3D, 3D Mouse in the past. I would like to add, since the Creo 4.0 version, the integration it's completely improved, very big improvements, and even about the navigation and the experience is much better. So after this video, probably you will you would like to test and touch personally this kind of technology, and all the channel here in your region probably could help you with this kind of evaluation.
Chanakya, I think he fixed the glitch. Still, we are not able to hear the audio, Chanakya. Luca, is it possible that we can voice over?
Yes, I prepared this this presentation with all the voiceover just to shorten the presentation. But if it's not possible, I can voice over the
Yeah, that would be better, I guess. Why? Because they are facing some issues. Playing the
Okay,
audio.
so if you start from the beginning, really beginning.
Janake, can you start from the beginning?
Is it audible?
No. Probably you just play the video again from the start.
Okay, I'll just do that.
Janake, just play the video. So Luca will explain. Thanks. Over to you, Luca.
Okay, thank you so much. As I said, 3D Connection is a well-known company, known worldwide, and they create comfortable peripherals for design and engineering professional. We have a lot of partners around the world. Here we can see just a few examples of our customer. Here we have our partner, of course, PTC is at the beginning, where we can work with them, several hardware. Even here we can see a few of our customers. Of course, they allowed to use their logo, but our customers are millions, and we can see our references. Here we can show the part of about ergonomics, because our devices are very important, as we click and move the mouse several times per hour, and we make some movements like kilometers during the daily work, and this effect is pain the wrist, the hand, the neck, shoulder, and even the posture is not the best. So we have a solution, the Space Mouse. The Space Mouse, it's like a joystick. It's a joystick you can use in addition with your keyboard and mouse. And this gives you the opportunity to move the object, to navigate. So it means pan, zoom, rotation. And this helps you to divide the effort between two hands instead of just one. So in this case, the setting, you can use the right hand, if you are right-handed, just to click and select models. And with the left hand, you have just to use the Space Mouse to move the object. Here, an example, how to use the Space Mouse inside the Creo. The secret is the special sensor, and this is the example, the demonstration how to move the object with this special joystick. If you notice, all movement made by the hand, you can reflect it in the 3D model in your screen. And it's really a wonderful experience because you have very big control of your model. Obviously, this kind of use helps you to have a better performance, less effort, and of course, even ergonomics. Here we have all buttons. You can customize and you can make shortcut keys. Here we have the Space Mouse product line. So now you saw just the biggest product, the top of our line, and this is the Space Mouse Enterprise. Every Space Mouse has in the middle the sensor who helps you really to transfer your finger movements to the 3D model. And this is really comfortable because you use just 3 fingers to make that you make with the right hand after several clicks and movements. Around the sensor, you have also the keyboards like ESC, Control, Shift, Enter, this kind of buttons, plus the feature buttons. Here it's the product line 2020, it's still the same, Space Mouse Enterprise, top of our line, Space Mouse Pro, in middle, the version wireless, and our entry level, the Space Mouse compact and in the wireless version. Obviously, in our website, you can find much information. Let me see the next slide. Well, this is Space Mouse, and we have another line named CAD Mouse. CAD Mouse, it's let's say standard mouse, but specific for CAD environment. So we are challenging against big player like Logitech or other producer. Obviously, this special mouse has high performance, 7,200 dpi, a lot of opportunity to navigate in the smoothest way as possible. We have 7 buttons you can use. We can see in the Creo all the buttons. We have 3 dedicated buttons because there is the left buttons, the middle buttons, and the right button you can see in all models, plus the wheel and the buttons under the wheel, plus the thumb button in the side, and plus the top button to open a dedicated radial menu. This fact to have a dedicated middle mouse button, it's like the first mouse, and give you the opportunity, even Creo, it's very important to make the rotation, the pan, and it's really important in the workflow. Instead of to click the wheel is round, it's a hard press button, so it's better to have dedicated button. At the beginning, it could be a little bit strange to click the right button with another finger, but the experience is great. Plus, we have a lot of ergonomics feature. Obviously, it's more vertical, it's incurvated. We have a concave button surface to click and to feel the button. Obviously, this is made not for gaming, not for office, but special for CAD. 7 buttons, high resolution sensor, and a special PTFE fit. This kind of fit under the CAD mouse allows you to move this special mouse with no effort. It's like to move the mouse on the ice, more or less, because they have a special design made to have the minimum effort possible. Here we have the 5 products. You can notice we have also the mouse for the left-handed user. Behind all this product, we have a very great driver, 3DXWare 10, single driver for all products, and it's really the heart of our technology, and day by day it's improved, and this is that who gives you the special experience when you use our products. Every buttons, sensibility, every kind of click you can configure, you can set it as you wish, and this is great. Even one with the one universal receiver, you can have that you need in your hand. Thanks for your attention, and of course, all information you can find them in 3dconnection.com, and please send to me or to the PTC staff all your questions, and I will be happy to answer you.
Thank you, Luca. Thanks for the presentation. I had used this mouse back in like 2016-17. It was really a great tool. So if you people are interested in this CAD mouse or space mouse, and if you are like wish to know more information about these devices, probably you can get in touch with our local partners, or you can write back to us to Reddington. So back to Q&A, Sergey, I hope you are available.
Yes, I am, with my pleasure.
Yeah, so we received a couple of more questions. So people would like to know, is there like any new feature added in sheet metal compared to earlier version? I don't know, like whether they are comparing with Creo 7. Probably like you can compare it with Creo 3 or 4 or 5 maybe.
First of all, for the sheet metal, is everybody can hear me? Is it okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. For the sheet metal, first you have the ability of direct modifying the geometry in, I would say, in the manner of direct modeling software. For example, you can import some kind of external sheet metal files, and you can manipulate with them in Creo. For sure, you have the ability, if you compare, let's say, Creo 7 with Creo 3, as we decided to have here, you have the ability to modify your geometry with this stuff. I mean, with the direct modeling function. It's called flexible modeling in Creo. I'm not sure if it is already used by the customer, but my favorite stuff in Creo is how it can take all kind of manufacturing. I mean, this tool information in Creo in parameters. I mean that in Creo you can have your manufacturing flow tools like these pressure tools with all kind of radiuses, all kind of the geometry which you have directly on your manufacturing shop floor as parameters for your sheet metal design. Like you have no chance to make a error. I mean a design error when you do, for example, the corner, or you make a bend operation, and so on and so on. But maybe the customer is already aware about this. So that is about sheet metal.
What are the enhancements on Creo manufacturing, especially when it comes to mold volume splitting?
Mold volume splitting.
Yes.
Okay. Again, the base. Can I please share my screen again? Let me please share my screen. Can you see my screen, Dinesh? Let me please know.
Yes, yeah, I'm able to see your screen. Yeah.
Okay. The best resource here for having this information is to go by this link, which I provide in my presentation. I will share it with everybody. So, and when you go here, for example, you can just type cavity mold split, and you will find a direct reference to one of the good features in Creo for volume splitting for cavity, and you can see it live and you can try it. And personally, what I like in volume splitting operation is this shape volume operation, because it is really flexible when you have, for example, not the cavity splitting surface like I do have, not the planar surface, but for example, with some kind of angles inside it. So I would advise just to go by this link and try to see all kind of new features in the PTC knowledge database. Okay. Is it an answer for your question?
I hope yes. Yeah, Sergey.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I actually dropped my email ID in the chat box. Suppose if you want more details on mold splitting or expert mold base or mold machining, or if you want more information on sheet metal enhancements done in sheet metal modeling features, or manufacturing sheet metal components like a progressive die or NC sheet metal like for nesting. So you can get in touch with us. You can write back to us. So probably we can arrange a focused demo on the particular module. And this there is a final question, and I feel this is very like a useful question. So we are talking a lot about additive manufacturing.
Mhm.
When it comes to 3D printers, selection of 3D printers, how can I know this printer is supported by Creo?
That is a nice question, because let me please show you what you need to do in order to understand this. Let me gain sharing of my screen. For doing so, please just do the following stuff. Please print in Google, materialize and name of your printer, because I'm not sure if I did it in the correct letter, but actually everything which is supported by Materialize is supported by Creo, because Creo uses exactly Materialize technology in order to have a direct link with a 3D printer. And that has a special name in the package, because it's called like Creo Additive Manufacturing Plus Materialize. Then you have this ability. That's it.
So there is a question in chat box. What about piping in Creo? I understand. So you are asking whether piping capability is available in Creo. If that is the question, yes, piping capability is available in Creo, and it is included in the basics. That is Creo Design Essentials, the very entry-level package of PTC Creo. So when you talk about the capabilities of piping, so we can do solid piping, also the flexible piping, forcing, and we have a schematic driven piping as well as non-schematic driven piping, that is logical routing and non-logical routing. So piping is possible in Creo, yes. I hope this answers your question. There is no more questions available, Sergey. Probably we can wrap up.
Dinesh, let me please do the following. For the piping, I will include one more video in all these slides, and the customer may see it when it have the slide deck, and I will just add it to the end of my presentation. So I have this demonstration of piping in Creo, how does it work, and I hope that the customer will enjoy it.
Perfect, Sergey. That would be really great. So let's close this session. Thanks participants for their patience, for participating. If you have further more queries, probably you can write to us. I shared my email ID in the chat box. It is dhinesh.m@reddingtongulf.com, or you can get in touch with our local partners available in UAE, KSA, and the respective region. I especially thank Luca for their sponsorship. Thanks, Sergey, for this wonderful presentation, and Chanakya and Subhashri for moderating this session very well. Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank you,
lot.
everyone.
Thanks a lot, and thanks a lot for our participants. Thanks, Luca. Thanks, Dinesh. Take care. Bye.
Participants will receive a CAD mouse as a giveaway, so that will be routed through our partners. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Take
to
care.
everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.